Good morning.
Good morning.
All right. Welcome to the second meeting. Let's get started. Everybody, please mute your mic. Upper right-hand corner of the screen, you can refresh or zoom to the web screen, the main web screen. Reinitialize your voice if you cannot hear or speak one time you need to. The top right little cogwheel thing, click on it about halfway down. There's a reinitialize voice. If that doesn't work, you may need to leave the room, sometimes even the world, and then come back to make that work. In the spirit of Thanksgiving, quote of the week: acknowledging the good that you already have in your life is the foundation for all abundance. All have something to be thankful for. Today's agenda is welcome and reminders of what you need to know with me. So like 6 points, major ethics, reporting comments, updates, and announcements with Jerry Farrell. Fun with numbers and shout out Tiffany Maddox. Slide Ninja is Kim Curry. And all brokers question and answers after that. And music featured by DJ Karaoke. She's done a great job this morning. Woo! Everything we need to know is in the agent guide, guys. I'd say 98% of what you need to know at least, right? So bookmark that if you haven't already. Excellent place to get most of your information about how to contact your broker and where things are in the world, etc. Office hours, Monday through Thursday, 10 to 5, 9 to 1 on Friday. If you haven't joined Workplace, join Workplace. And join your regional groups or state groups in Workplace. Where are we at? Calendar, meeting calendar. On Tuesday, 9 o'clock, we have coffee compliance in the conference hall, which is next door to this one. Wednesdays on 9 is mandatory for TV. It's best practices that was yesterday, featuring all kinds of different good topics. Thursday is where you are now. It's also mandatory for provisional brokers. That is this morning at 9, and that is right here in the auditorium. On the third Tuesday of every month, we have Beyond the Basics, which is mentors teaching and bringing you knowledge. That's also next door to this room, or close to it, right? Wednesday, onboarding Q&As at noon. So, and then the second, fourth Wednesday of every month is live orientation. So if you attend one of those orientations and still have questions, then the next week you can come back on Wednesdays and have a live Q&A session. Speaking of all these classes, no classes next week. It's Thanksgiving. A lot of people are going to be traveling, and then Thursday would be our state meeting, which would be Thanksgiving. So we're just no classes next week. Speaking of classes again, next week we're not going to have compliance and coffee, but make a note of your calendar because on the 30th, the following week, they're going to be teaching SkySlope tips and tricks. And I know that we could all use that, including myself, always looking to find an easier way to navigate through SkySlope and make things quicker. Orientation is also on demand for those of you that need a refresher or didn't make it to the live orientation. You can get the orientation slides, go through them at your own pace, or go back to it and find things that you may have missed. Rhonda put the link in the box there. We need a link to that. Going into the logos again, I know we talk about it every 2 weeks, but we really want to get all of these done, especially by the end of the year, but ASAP really. So the easiest way to know it is if the R is in the corner, you are Kirk. If the TM is in the corner, you need to change it. And that link there, you can get all the new logos and branding. The EFP marketing page, they do continually add new stuff. If you want to know where to get postcards, flyers, brochures, things to put on your social media that's already been approved, and you don't have to get it approved if it stays the same. You can also get your letterhead, Spanish material, marketing letters. There's a video creator tool. I know in one of my groups we were talking about using video for things. So check that out. and get all your mortgage done. CE Shop. Make sure when you go there for all your CE and continuing ed, they give us a good discount. I hear next week they may be doing something really good for Black Friday. People look out for that. Make sure it's expnc.theceshop.com. That's where you're going to get the discount easiest, just like that. And today we have a special guest. Margo Wickersham is going to be talking about agent healthcare with open enrollment and insurance and all these things we have to deal with, especially as self-employed people. This will be a good listen to. So is Margo here this morning?
Margo, where's your name?
Is she not here this morning?
Yes, list yet. To make sure you think you
All right, well, we'll move on to Bitcoin and ethics.
All right, good morning, y'all. As we are approaching the end of 2021 and we've been hounding everybody to take your code of ethics update, I thought now would be a good time to maybe discuss a little bit about the code of ethics. We seem to get a lot, well, I know I do, I think the other MBs do as well, a lot of agents that come in and say, the agent on the other side of this transaction is being unethical. Or they say, you know, my buyer says that the agent is being unethical. And some of the things that I've heard said is, you know, the agent is being slow in responding to the emails, text messages, or their phone calls. The listing agent didn't disclose things that were found during the inspection that turned out to be material facts. The listing agent didn't tell me that there was already an offer on the property when I submitted my offer. The agent contacted my seller directly and asked when our listing agreement was going to expire. And the listing agent told me that the seller was accepting my offer, but then they accepted another offer instead. So these are just some of the things that I hear on a fairly regular basis, where, you know, the agent or maybe the buyer, even the listing, the seller rather, turns around and says, you know, I think this agent is being unethical. And the question is, are they being unethical per the code of ethics, or does it just feel icky? You know, do you just not feel warm and fuzzy about it? So I'm going to upload the most recent code of ethics to the chat box. You guys can have it. I think a lot of us get it that one time when we go through our MLS training and then when we do the update, but we never really think to look at it again. So we're going to play a little game. We're going to pose a situation, and then I want everybody to answer in the chat box if you think they violated the code of ethics. All right. So Realtor Jen Jones is representing a buyer client, Mary Shelley. Miss Shelley finds a house that she loves, but it's being sold as an estate by the heirs of Dr. Frank M. Stein. The North Carolina residential property disclosure has been filled out with NA for all of the questions. The listing agent, Mr. Hyde, informs Mr. Jones that the heirs have never lived in the house. During the course of the inspection, it is discovered that the home has structural issues in the crawl space. The estimated repairs are $10,000. Miss Shelley's due diligence was $8,000. The heirs are only willing to provide $5,000 towards repairs. Miss Shelley feels that the listing agent, Mr. Hyde, should have known about the structural issues due to the leaking floors. She accuses him of being unethical and says she is going to file a complaint with the real estate commission. Did Mr. Hyde violate the code of ethics by not disclosing the structural issues in the crawl space? I'm seeing a lot of no's, which I'm happy about. So, Article 2, Standard of Practice 2.1. Realtors shall only be obligated to discover and disclose adverse factors reasonably apparent to someone with expertise in those areas required by their real estate licensing authority. So one of the things that we hear a lot about, or we get a lot of agents that come to the floor and that they call and I get text message and work chats about is when we have a listing and, you know, these days with due diligence being really high, buyers, you know, decide, oh, I don't want to buy this house, you know, after they get through the inspection process. It's just too much in terms of repairs. And they, you know, we just talked about this on Wednesday, yesterday. they will look to find a way, did the seller breach, right? Was the seller in breach? And sometimes fingers start to turn and point at the listing agent, like you should have known. As a listing agent, you should have known this, right? How many of y'all have ever been in that situation where the other agent says, well, how could you have not known, right? Like it was on the inspection report. We are not inspectors. We're not plumbers. We're not structural engineers. I like to remind people that, we should stay in our lane. It's fair enough to be able to walk through a house and point certain things out, like significant cracks or shifts in the wall, or even outside when you can see structural issues going on. But at no point are we ever expected to know exactly what is going on, underneath the house, or if, rafters might have been cut in an attic. If, you don't have access to that, or even maybe what we don't know what that looks like. I think a lot of agents that have had 20 years of experience, seen thousands upon thousands of inspection reports and visited so many properties, they may have a better grasp of what to look for and maybe be aware of some issues beforehand, before listing the property. But newer agents, they don't know, you don't know until you know, right? It's a learning process. This whole business is a learning process. So just keep that in mind. You are not, it's the stay in your lane theory. So next question is, listing agent Oscar G. Rouch has had a doozy of a time trying to sell his client's home. The problem isn't so much with the home itself, but rather with the sellers. They are divorcing and can't seem to agree on anything related to the home sale. He knows that if you could just get them an offer of $400,000, you guys are jumping to it, they would be happy. Buyer's agent Elmo Tickle shows his buyer client Jim Henson the home, and Mr. Henson immediately writes an offer for $390,000. Mr. Tickle calls Mr. Rouch to tell him there's nothing, he's sending him an offer. When Mr. Tickle tells Mr. Rouch what the offer amount is, Mr. Rouch sighs and says, he'll present it, but I'll tell you up front, these guys have not been the easiest to work with. This divorce has brought out the worst in both of them. If they don't sell this house soon, the court will have to step in. Yes, he did. Standard practice 1.9. The obligation of realtors to preserve confidential information as defined by state law provided by their clients in the course of any agency relationship or non-agency relationship recognized by the law continues after termination of agency relationship or any non-agency relationship recognized by law. Realtors shall not knowingly, during, or following the termination of professional relationship with their clients reveal confidential information of clients or use confidential information of clients to the disadvantage of clients. So what are some things that he revealed, not necessarily in the divorce, right? And revealing the divorce, because we all know when somebody says divorce, you're thinking, okay, they got to sell it quick, right? But what else did he kind of reveal in that statement that may have said something into the buyers or the buyer agent that was like a turnoff for them? Stepping in, right? Anything else? Right, if they give him permission to disclose, he's not in violation. You guys got that. Difficult client. Yes, sellers can't agree. Difficult clients. A lot of agents, if you heard that, and maybe your buyer clients were a little, maybe they were the kinds that were kind of jumpy and nervous. And you heard that and you thought, oh man, like these guys are first-time home buyers and we're going to be working with this couple that's divorcing and they're already fighting. And how are we going to get through the due diligence process? And what if it doesn't appraise? Like all of those thoughts are going to be going through your mind. Are you going to go back to your buyers and are you going to tell them everything that listing agent just told you? Absolutely you are. Should you ask questions for the other agents feel sting? No. If you ask questions, right, that maybe aren't even directed like towards anything that would be revealing, but in the course of the conversation, the other agent happens to just unload on you or spill the beans, that's not your fault. Now, if you ask specific questions that could be leading you towards some revealing confidential information intentionally, I always advise, like, don't do that. Don't ask questions that could lead down that path, as if then are the sellers selling the home because they're divorcing? Like that would obviously be the wrong way to go about that. Are you obligated to let your client buyer know anything that may affect them? Yes, you are.
Material facts.
It might not necessarily be considered a material fact, but it would affect the deal, right? All right, so I've got one more, and this is one that I hear probably, I don't know, 3 or 4 times a week. Builder Ferris Bueller is representing the buyer client, Donnie Darko, in the purchase of a home in a new construction subdivision, Twin Peaks. Mr. Bueller has been having a difficult time with obtaining information regarding the timeline of the construction of the home from the listing agent, Laura Palmer. It often takes 3 days. I'm sorry, you guys, my slides keep jumping back on the screen. Often takes 3 days for her to respond, and when she does, she doesn't supply complete information. Mr. Bueller is getting increasingly frustrated, and Mr. Darko is threatening legal action against Ms. Palmer. What say ye? Getting some mixed answers. I'm sensing some hesitancy. Mr. Darko is threatening to sue the listing agent representing the seller. I'm getting some no's. Yes. Right. I feel like this is a mixed bag, and you guys are kind of being like hesitant on this one. Where's the other ones? You were jumping the gun. All right, slide ninja. While realtors have a responsibility to submit all offers and counter offers objectively and as quickly as possible, Article 1, Standard Practice 1.6, there is no standard of practice that establishes an obligation to how quickly a realtor must respond to communication. Obviously, time is of the essence in a real estate transaction. Should an agent run into issues with communication with another agent, the first step in resolving the issue is to reach out to the broker in charge of the other agent. If communication with an agent has been good and steady up until a certain point, there could very well be an emergency that you are unaware of. In fact, that happened this week with the buyer agent. Had not necessarily to this degree, but she had these buyer clients that were not hers. They reached out to her and said, we want to see a property. It's your listing. We can't get in touch with our agent. We're only in town for 4 days. You know, what can we do? She reached out to the buyer agent several times. He didn't respond. She reached out to me. It just so happened he was an EXP agent. I tried to get him on the phone and couldn't reach him. And then the buyer client revealed that this is unusual behavior for him. He has been really good about responding. So up until this point. So I thought, maybe this is a good time to like reach out, you know, to his emergency contact. And I did. And it turns out he'd lost his phone 3 days before and had not received his new phone yet, and had very little way of contacting anybody, you know, without his phone. He was having to like play the old game telephone by sending messages through other people. And if I hadn't reached out, they never would have known that. They could have just totally ghosted him and gone with different clients if they hadn't known, right? So sometimes reaching out and just, you know, trying to get the line of communication going with another resource can save the deal. Don't you have 3 days to respond? Though, isn't it best practice? In terms of an offer, yes, but in terms of communication, there is no rule or code of ethics standard that says you have to respond to a text message or an email or a phone call within 3 days. In fact, the code of ethics doesn't specifically address timelines on, returning, responding to an offer or counter offer. That would be up to each individual state on what their guidelines or their law is on that. So that's another important thing to remember, that there's the code of ethics. So you can say that somebody's being unethical by breaking the code of ethics, but then there's also state laws. So those are two different things. So you guys did a great job, and thanks for playing along. I'm sorry, I'm reading this last comment. I'm having similar problems. Listing agent isn't responding at all to anybody for weeks. When I called her office, her bit got on the phone and was agitated. I was calling, said she or the listing agent would call me 5 days in with an update, and I never heard from anyone. That was a week ago. So in that situation, I'm going to get Michelle. That's got that morning sun coming in on my screen. So I would reach out, email the listing agent, their BIC, and copy your BIC on the email, and just follow it up and say, per our earlier conversation, I am trying to get a resolution on whatever the issue was. You can even say, I've copied my BIC on this just to loop them in, and again, seek out that response. And now you've got it in writing, showing that this is your attempt to do this, and it's got a date on it. And if you even want to say referencing our phone conversation on such a date, so that that's kind of not validated, but recorded as well. That kind of follows. Good luck. Jerry?
Alrighty. Let's move on to some additional information. So on this slide, we have, did you know the hub is open 24/7? So if you go into World, click on Go To, Onboarding and Agent Support, and then click on the hub. There is a live Explore guide on the floor there, almost like a exhibition hall. Information about onboarding, education, and everything, resources for EXP. So check that out. And deadlines that affect you. EXP will be settling all 2021 files by December 31st. How does it affect you? Well, if you understand why, your closed transactions affect EXP's bottom line, which affects the stock value. It's by you helping us and CCS close out your files for the end of the year, it will help the bottom line. Our company has to finalize the year-end numbers, leading to profit and loss statements. Wall Street reacts to the profit and loss, corporate earnings, and overall numbers. The better our year-end numbers, and the better reaction Wall Street will have. The better reaction Wall Street has, it's a positive impact on your stocks. To help us get that done this year, we're all chipping in, getting those files cleared out. Quick reminder: all checks must be made out to eXp Realty. That is, all checks must be made out to eXp Realty. If a check is made out to you or your team and it's mailed out, it will not get cashed. If you notice that an attorney has made out a check to you or your team, please ask them to cancel and reissue the check. If your name or your team's name is on the closing disclosure and EXP is not, we will have to reach out to the attorney to have that corrected as well. This can delay your payment. We don't want that. We want to pay you as quickly as possible. Please make sure EXP is always listed on the closing documents. And if you're a standard domestic or self-organized team, you can now reach your transaction settlement team at nc.teamstransaction@exprealty.net. You have your own transaction department for teams.
Before you coming from Workplace, Rachel Chase would like to know, when submitting an offer, does the other agent have 3 days to respond? Question mark.
No, there's no set time frame with the code of ethics to answer that, to answer an offer back. Or
Thank you.
Oh, that's fine. Let's see, concierge team, there we go. The concierge team is available to assist you with questions and disbursements, settlements and commission payments via the new toll-free number. So you can call this toll-free number and speak to a live person, 9 to 11 Eastern time, Monday through Friday, 10 to 2 on Saturdays. How about that, Saturday? They're closed on Sundays. So there is the number there if you have questions that you need to ask. Then we also have transaction services now available. So what does it cost? So if you need a help with your files in SkySlope, the just an upload service is $50. Upload service for leases, referrals, and BPOs. 150 for sales and listings transaction. And then if it's a dual agency, it's $300. Full service is $250, and then full service dual agency is $450. And there's no charge for terminated contracts. And I have a block here. I'm gonna put in below. Give me 1 second. I think I can put my hands on it quickly. Yeah. There it is. All about the transaction coordinator program here at EXP. So download that to your computer. And code of ethics for students. We're talking about code of ethics. CHOP, as we talked about earlier, has special codes on that. That is coming due on December 31st. So if you haven't had your code of ethics course, please get that done by December 31st. You can do it one of two ways, through the CE shop and get credit, continuing education credit for the state of North Carolina. Or if you go to the NAR website, you can take the code of ethics there. It's a little bit shorter, 2.5 hours. However, you will not get continuing education credit for that. So I like to spend a little extra time, take the code of ethics and get extra credit for the state of North Carolina done at the same time. But if you're in a pinch, get close to the end of the year, get that done. NAR dues must be paid prior. Yes, that's correct. It is free for the Code of Ethics class with NAR. Doesn't cost anything. NAR dues must be paid by January 1st. NAR dues must be paid by the 1st. You pay these dues through your primary association. Reach out to your primary association to be sure that your dues have been paid on time. Provisional brokers. We will be doing quarterly graduations for provisional brokers that drop their provisional broker status. The first quarter is October 1st through December 31st. And so the quicker you drop your status, the quicker you can become a broker and be on our list for your graduation for provisional brokers. We like to celebrate that with you. And then next, regional updates. We're going to welcome Karen Krodke to the Triad region. Welcome, Karen. And then Jackie Klein to the coastal region. Welcome, Jackie. We are happy to have them on board in your area. And then your EXP expert concierge team. Here are some of the things they can help you with: onboarding support, the Join app troubleshooting, assistance with EXP tools and training, your Regis memberships, general EXP questions like navigating the world, who do I contact, how do I find this, SkySlope activation, W-9 direct deposit, email aliases, things like that, EXP partner information like healthcare, express offers, etc. The mentor program, lots of questions about that, so they can help with the mentor program. EXP University classes and locations, state meetings and training information, getting the business cards. So they are everything getting you started at EXP, helping answer the questions. You can email them at nc.expertcare@exprealty.net, and they will get back to you right away. You can also see them on the state floor. They are in the middle of the floor in the yellow tables. Pull a yellow ticket and speak with them as well. All right, Regis office mail reminders. Do not get the due diligence check delivered to the Regis office. Reminder that all mail is forwarded to our corporate office. Update your personal information with NCREC to ensure that the North Carolina Real Estate Commission mail is sent to your home or your post office box. Please add a post office box as your mailing address if you create a Google Office page. That's important because those Google Office reminders and codes get sent to the Regis office, and a lot of times by the time it's tracked down and distributed, it's too late. That code is expired. So make sure that the Google pages that you all create have a PO box line or as your mailing address. Lastly, don't forget to utilize these offices all have space that you can use. It's called the lounge. You can use their internet connection and go in and meet with clients there if you need to, or have a quick meeting in the lounge. They have additional services that they charge for. All right, so it's from time to time you'll receive NPS surveys. Please take a moment to complete the survey. It only takes a few minutes, and it helps us know what's going on and how we can help make improvements. So if you'll take a few minutes to rate us, and you can leave a 1-sentence feedback as to how you or why you gave that rating. That will help us improve our state and keep plugging away for you guys. All right, looks like
Jerry, I want to step in. Margo Wickersham is here. She is going to talk to our agents about some healthcare. And so Margo, you want to come up and talk about that?
I would be delighted. In fact, I think I
Oh,
must
you're
have
already in
received-
here.
I
I didn't
think
see
I am.
you. I had a big old block in front of my camera, so I didn't see you.
Okay, can you hear me all right?
Yes, ma'am.
We can hear you.
Okay, awesome. And remind me how many minutes you allotted for me so that I respect your timeframes and other commitments.
Well, how many minutes do you need to adequately give them the information?
Usually 15 to 20 is ideal.
That's reasonable.
Okay. Well, greetings, North Carolina, one of my very favorite states. I am a Tar Heel, and I get back to that state anytime I can. 4 beautiful seasons, none of the extreme or filthy like the big people of the state. And I bet you guys are as busy as you can be, because I'm hearing that lots of people are discovering that it's a beautiful place to live, and you probably wish you had more houses. So what I'd love to do is go Wolfpack. Okay, Dave, you're welcome to have, like whatever works for you. I'll tell you guys, I'll date myself 100% accurately by saying I was at UNC Chapel Hill at exactly the same time as Michael Jordan. So we're the same age. Did we hang out? No, we did not hang out, but I did see him. I waited tables at Four Corners, which I think is still there, back at a billion years ago. And the team came in and they looked like they looked like adults sitting in little children chairs. They were total gentlemen and they're really nice. Anyway, lovely see North Carolina. I'm here to give you some updates about the healthcare plans. And what I'm curious about is what you guys know. I know that this company is growing so fast that I bet there's a whole bunch of new people in here. And so you may know nothing about the EXP Agent Healthcare Plan. I'm here to tell you it is amazing. So I'm going to hit the highlights and then hit the announcement for you. So here's the way it works. I am with Clearwater Benefits. I represent the EXP Agent Healthcare Plan, and I head up the partnership between EXP and Clearwater, which we started a couple of years ago. Look at Jerry putting the URL in there. Thank you, Jerry. You are my lovely assistant, and I appreciate it very much. That is where you can go for finding information about plans. You can see videos of EXP agents sharing their experiences. You can get a quote. Oh yeah, it would be helpful. I'm showing slides, but it didn't tell you which screen. It's like a little treasure hunt. It's on the left screen, so thank you, Rhonda. Left screen, there it is. So we've got 3 goals. The reason we set up this partnership is to help agents find the very best plan at the lowest cost, whether we enroll you or not. So what that means is you talk with one of our consultants and find out that, in fact, the plan you're on is the best one. Then guess what our consultants are going to say? They're going to say, Jerry, that ends up being the best plan for you. You should stay right there. And I'm very proud of that relationship and reputation that we've developed. I'm going to drop another link into that chat. Let's see if it goes in there. That is a link you can use to go ahead and book a call with one of our agents. We are in open enrollment right now. And that means that if you need to have something in place by the end of open enrollment, you should probably book a call and find out. Let's try again. There we go. I think what I did the first time was Four Corners is still there, unbelievable. You have a kid looking at UNC versus North Carolina State, yeah. So I took mine to go look at it, and funny story, I bet parents can relate to this. I have a couple of kids who have plenty of smarts, and one of them was not interested in trying hard in high school. And this was unbelievable to me, but he told me when he barely graduated high school, I underestimated what it took to get a 70. And I just thought, how can you be my child? I say that because he had to go to the other Carolina. He couldn't get into UNC, even with my legacy. However, now he is on his path to go to med school, so we turned it around. So funny. All right, so we want to save you on your monthly costs. That is your premiums. We want to upgrade the access to doctors that you have and hospitals. And then we've got, we want to help you reduce the out-of-pocket risk, because that's where the big bills come in. And people are at risk for, well, financial difficulty and even bankruptcy in a lot of cases. So we want to really remove that risk as much as possible. Mom dog can relate to that. First child, yeah, I call him Captain just in time sometimes. All right, so the way we do that, how do we deliver on those three goals? By having a wide range of plans. So we've got Clearwater Plans is a category of plans that we crafted, and they are awesome. I myself am on one of them with my husband and children, including the one I just mentioned, and a daughter who is at Colorado State. And so that's been really great. We actually left retired teacher, so-called good, air quotes, health insurance. It was good until it got not so good. Then it got worse and worse, and we moved over to one of these plans about 4 years ago. I've had occasion to test it and have shared that story here, and I'll touch on that story in a minute. It literally saved my life. I'll explain in a bit. And then we've also got traditional healthcare plans. So these would be Blue Cross or Cigna, those kinds of things. So this is on the left screen. You see on screen, oh, wait, you should be able to see the left screen fresh if you're not seeing it, Liz. And then we've got another category, a third category of plans that are supplemental. So these are kind of a la carte, and you can add these as you want. So dental, vision, life insurance, and then Aflac-like accident and critical illness plans that pay a lump sum. So we have a wide variety of tools in the toolbox to help you. And then we've got this amazing team of licensed consultants. The company, as a broker, we are licensed in all 50 states. Each of the consultants are licensed in all 50 states. That's important because what if you spend half your time in North Carolina and the other half in Florida or Montana or wherever? You want to know that you can get plans that work for you wherever you spend your time. In addition to that, you also care about this if you are looking to grow your business by attraction, because this is something that's available to you as an attraction tool. I'll tell you more about that in a minute. It's so compelling that we actually discovered kind of by accident that it's an attraction tool. And we built some capabilities and tools for you to use for that. So we have this great team of licensed consultants. They're very empathetic and knowledgeable and helpful. We also have that website that Jerry kindly, enrollment deadlines, good question. December 31st is the enrollment deadline for this open enrollment. And look at him go. Thank you, Jerry. And we've got all kinds of information on that website that Jerry just typed in there, because there's videos, there's information about what kind of plans are available, and you can get a quote, you can book a call, you can register for a webinar. And then we've got support after enrollment as well, so you're not left on your own wondering what to do. You may be curious, what do most HB agents choose? And about 85% choose one of these Clearwater solutions. It breaks down this way: about another 10% are a better fit for traditional healthcare plans like Blue Cross, and then about 5% of the time we're talking to people who find they are already on the best healthcare plan, so we just say stay right there. So what's the worst that happens if you book a call and find out you were on the best plan? Now you have peace of mind, not have to worry about it. Or you might find that you can save some money and get better care. I do recommend you take us up on the offer to get that. So what's the big announcement? Because that all sounded pretty good, right? The big announcement is that now, as of January 1st, the network for doctor visits, that's preventatives, checkups, well woman, well child exams, immunizations, mammograms, screening colonoscopies, all of those specialties, all of that goes from a PPO network that we currently have to open network. You can go to any doctor in the USA, which is amazing. I know of no other plan that does this. So this is starting whether you're enrolled now, if you're already enrolled in one of the Clearwater plans, this is automatically going to happen for you beginning January 1st. Really big news. Jason Bussing announced this in the general session last week. And this is very exciting. This is industry leading. I know of no other plan like this at all. The second big announcement is we're expanding, growing our concierge service. So now you're going to have one step that you have to do when you've got a need, you've got a question, you have anything you've got that you want to figure out around your healthcare plan. You have one step. There's no remember this phone number, remember that phone number, start here, upload that app. You just call the concierge service team. The phone number for that team will come to you as you were enrolled. I know, Mom, I'm the same way. I want it now. I want concierge service for all the things in my life. In fact, I've actually heard some people describe EXP real estate agents as concierge realtors. So, because if you think about it, you guys do a lot more than just the transaction. If somebody calls up and says, I need a dentist, you don't say, well, you're too bad, why don't you Google it? You know, you help find something for them. So it's a pretty amazing service. And then the agent attraction toolkit, I'm going to give you the link to that right now, is fabulous. This will take you to a Google Drive with the folders, and you can poke around in folders and see that we've got, we have the videos, list of videos, you've got slides that you can add to your slideshows, we've got PDFs and flyers, there's even social media content, it's all turnkey, just use it as is, brand it if you want to, all yours to use. And we have found this to be tremendously, there's been a shift in the last year of really driving attraction, leading in many cases with the healthcare, because this is something that only EXP agents have. This chart's just giving you an idea of how much stuff can cost if you don't have any health insurance, you know, it's a lot. So at a glance, here's what most agents see if they're moving to one of the Clearwater plans from a traditional healthcare plan. They typically see an average savings of $8,000 a year. That sounds like a big number, and it is. For any of you who were at EXPCon last week, I was, and I got to see Matt Badiata win an award, and he wanted to for production, and he wanted to dedicate that award to EXP Agent Healthcare because it made all the difference in his business. And it was because he saves $2,000 a month. He saves $24,000 a year. That is crazy. That's insane. And if I hadn't talked to him myself, I would probably not believe it. But I did. I actually captured a video with him telling the story. I will post that on your state page when I'm through, and you can see it. That's unusual, but he poured all that money back into his business, and it worked out pretty well for him. And now there's no longer a PPO network of doctors. It's open network, any doctor, any hospital. That is phenomenal to have that back in the hands of us to drive who we see and where we go is just tremendous. Even if it didn't save money, that would be amazing. And then because there's no network issues, the out-of-pocket savings are huge because that's where most of the big costs come from. You know, think of the example of when you get, you've heard about people who go to the ER, you know, and the EMS or ambulance driver is not exactly checking to see what hospitals are in network, so they just go to the nearest one or however they decide which one to go to. And that may or may not be a network, and if it's not, you owe every bit of that bill. And that is what leads to, well, there's 2/3 of bankruptcies in this country are caused by medical bills, and that's how it adds up. So we want to avoid that, and we do, because there's no network issues ever. So amazingly, so we know that this is a big problem. In fact, it's the #2 problem for agents behind compensation. It's the biggest concern that they have. And we know that about 1/3 are completely uninsured. We don't want that to go on. About another 1/3 are on a plan either through a job, part-time, full-time, just for benefits, or one that their spouse has. And about another 1/3 are on super expensive nature medical. And we want to help each of you. I just mentioned the bankruptcy data there, but something else that's interesting is that 54% of procedures, 54% are either unnecessary or out of date. Well, raise your virtual hand if you feel like having an out of date or unnecessary procedure. I don't want to spend the money or risk my body on it, right? So we want to avoid those. And then also 70% of cancer diagnoses are wrong. Gosh, how is that possible? Well, I myself went through a cancer battle last year, and I'm happy to report I am still cancer free. And if you've heard me share that story, second opinion is what saved my life, because had I not gotten that second opinion, I would have proceeded with a treatment regimen that would have treated the one kind of cancer that we knew I had, but it would not have treated the second kind that my doctor missed. And that MD Anderson, the amazing people there, because I got to go to the best doctors, were able to find, and we did everything. We did chemo, we did surgery, we did trials, everything, and now I'm cancer free. Not only was that not going to treat the second form of cancer that the MD Anderson folks found, that kind of cancer was going to kill me within a year. So it is the best. And I know, so glad I had access to the best doctors. It really does matter. All right, so this is life-changing in more ways than one, and I want to show you how compelling this is as a competitive advantage for you as you look to attract agents. So virtually none of the other national brokerages have anything meaningful. They might have links to plans that are basically, it's just another portal to the marketplace. Everybody's trying to figure it out, but it's hard. We cracked the code on it, and we have an exclusive arrangement with EXP that we will not talk to any of these other national brands. So this is an exclusive offering that you guys have that the other big brokerages do not. So leverage that. We are seeing lives changed in so many ways with all of the plan options and the average savings of $8,000 a year. It's available in all 50 states. It's like giving agents a raise. So we are seeing stress levels go down. We see people being really appreciative of the great service, peace of mind. What price do you put on that? Being able to just focus on building business and enjoying life, that's where it's at. So I've got one thing I'm going to share with you. You might want to write this down. This is a question that you can post either on your, to a text to someone you want to talk to, or on your social media. But just ask this question: if there was a way you could save hundreds or thousands of dollars on health insurance and get better care, would you want to learn more? Do you see how powerful that could be? This is just a question asking, if there was a way, would you want to learn more? That's all you're asking. You're going to find out with this question if healthcare is one of the things they care most about. It will be for a lot of people. It won't be for some. If they don't answer or they say, no, I'm good, then you know something else is going to be the way to get the conversation started. But for a lot of people, this is an amazing way to open the door to conversation. Once you're in the conversation, you guys work your magic and you start talking about all of the different benefits that EXP delivers to agents. And now you have an opportunity that you may not have had before. I think of this as another door to the same conversation. Kind of like in the world, there's different ways we can get into different rooms and places. Repeat the question. Sure, April. It is, if there was a way you could save hundreds or thousands on health insurance. If there was a way you could save hundreds or thousands on health insurance and get better care, would you want to learn more? And I've seen influencers use this very successfully to get that conversation started. A copy of the slides, Glenn, yes. Oh, I'm so glad that you're finding this valuable, Glenn. Yeah, you know what, are you live streaming this, Rhonda? Well, even so, we're not
It's
doing
being live streamed, yes.
awesome. So what I'll also do is post, I can just upload the slides in the North Carolina State if you'd like me to, in the state group. And then you have those. So I'm glad this is helpful to you guys. Just gonna close out right now, let you get on with the rest of your meeting. I mentioned the attraction kit, the videos, the posts for social media, and finally, you're so welcome, Shannon. The link to, join us on the healthcare group. We are also, we do have a healthcare group in Workplace. That's a great place. How can you contact us? I'm in Workplace, baby. You can find me there. And then I've got this great team who is wonderful for helping you get a quote. And I'm going to close it out there. Thank you so much for having me and to you guys for paying attention and investing in your own career and your own success, and then all these different ways you can change people's lives. It's an honor to be part of it. Thanks so much for having me.
Thank you,
Take care.
Margo. Great information.
My pleasure.
All right, now we're gonna move on to fun with numbers.
That would be me. All right, guys, let's take a look at the number slide. All about the numbers. All right, NC agent count. We are at 4,132. We currently have 66 agents onboarding. Net agent growth is 2,057. Last week's attendance, we were at the XPCon, so there was not a meeting last week. All right, year-to-date volume, we have $6,526,886 in sales. That's a lot. 20,882 closed units this year. Currently have 3,970 that are open and pending that would add to that one that closes out this year. And then, of course, we are at a 93% growth rate, growth over last year. All right. Now we're gonna do the shout outs. First shout out. Now, I believe your name is pronounced Georgia Johnson. I know that you were pretty much running everything for EXPCon, and I apologize. It is Georgia, pronounced Georgia. It looks like she got a shout out from Martha. The agent is helpful and exceptional in every way. I drove her crazy with so many changes to our team's EXPCon registration. She was on top of it all and helped us each and every time with a smile on her face. Thank you, Georgia. She was phenomenal. She actually helped me with some things too. So she was definitely on it. So good job there, guys. Thank you, Martha, for the shout out. We got another shout out for Sandy. Sandy is helpful, fun, spreading the love, loving and exceptional in every way. She is always available when I need her. As a new agent, I am walking slowly like a baby. She is caring and helping me in every possible way to make me grow stronger and more confident. She is simply the best of the best. I am so lucky to have her as my mentor. Thank you, Sandy. You know, that is awesome. I think we've had several shout outs for Sandy. So good job, Sandy. Way to keep up the good work. We definitely appreciate all of our mentors and all. Amazing. So way to go, Sandy.
Hello.
Andrew